Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be explaining how and why I chose to walk 100,000 steps in a single day on 3 separate occasions. So let's jump straight into it with the how. Okay, so once upon a time, 30,000 steps in a day, that was quite a accomplishment for me. But then slowly but surely pushing the threshold of possibility and also working quite scientifically. So I started to break things down. I realized, okay, I'm 5'9". How many steps can I take in an hour? And that number for me was 7,500. Okay. And so what that meant is 4 hours, we're talking about 30,000 steps. So I'm like, okay, this is useful information. So before I knew it, I managed to hit the 50,000 step threshold, and then 60, and then the 70K. And it's that 70K, that's the important one. That's when I realized, you know what, this 100K might be possible if I break it down scientifically. So I know that it takes me about 4 hours to do 30,000 steps. So if I can do that in 3 chunks, that should take me to 90,000, and then I can just sprinkle a little 10,000 steps to get the 100,000 figure. Okay, and that's what happened. And the first time it happened, this was 2019, and I'm someone who sometimes gets, let's call it, periods of high energy. Okay, sometimes I get so energized I don't know what to do, and walking is one of my outlets. Okay, and so on a fateful day in October, I had stayed over at a friend's house, and I had woken up early, right around 4 a.m. So bearing in mind, I have so much energy, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? I'm now awake. And I decided rather impromptu, right, out of the blue, this is the day that I'm gonna do the 100,000 steps. So it wasn't something that I actually planned in advance. I just woke up and said, now is the time. So that first attempt took me about 16 or something hours to get the 100,000 steps in. Okay, and that was it was a difficult, in fact, no, let me take that back. The hardest part was the beginning and the end. Okay, so the beginning phase is like, man, you have 100,000 steps that you have to do, right? So I guess the simple method to think about it is 1 step at a time, but you have to do that 100,000 times. Okay. And also the ending phase is difficult. Once you hit that 90,000 threshold and you got 10,000 steps left, that is a slug, right, to get through that final hurdle. But the middle part, that happened very naturally. I love my music, so I was spinning about 10 to 12 albums perhaps to get me through the day, right? So the music gave me energy, and furthermore, when I've done these attempts, I've also done it to raise money for charity. So you had a combination of high energy, plus I'm raising money for charity at the same time with the music combination, and it just kind of happened. So that was the first time. Then the second time, I started to wonder, can I push the boundaries even more? Okay. Is it possible to achieve 150,000 steps in a single day? Is it possible to walk for 24 hours in a single day? Okay. And then here being me, being naive Eche, okay, I decided I'm gonna try to do one of the two, either walk for 24 hours or try and hit the 150,000 threshold. Okay. Now I'll tell you now, this is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. So don't try this at home, folks. This is not the way forward, right? It took me 2+ weeks to recover after this second attempt. So the second attempt, this involved me going to bed at 10 o'clock, waking up at midnight and leaving the house, right? Because I'm trying to do 24 hours or 150,000 steps, okay? Now, because I've done the 100K, I feel empowered, I feel more confident, and I managed to get the 100K in, for me, record time, okay? But then, pushing, my feet are finished. Right, my feet are finished, it's burning, adrenaline is not even carrying me through. I'm literally moving, the pace of movement has slowed down, right? But I'm still trying to push through, step in. That last 20,000 steps, just ridiculous, right? Hardest thing I've probably ever done in my life is that 150,000 steps, and that's what I managed to achieve. So bearing in mind that I left my house at midnight, I wrapped up this session of walking around 9 p.m. Okay, so I was on the road. Yes, I did take some breaks, but I was on the road for a long time. Okay, and as I said, it took my feet about 2 weeks plus to recover fully. Okay, and speaking of which, something that you realize when you do the 100K steps is that adrenaline is a powerful force, because it carried me through the first attempt, and it was only once I got home and I took my shoes off, then I felt the pain once the adrenaline had wore off, right? And that day I couldn't even go to bed because my feet were burning, right? So that's attempt 1, attempt 2, and then the third attempt, the most recent attempt, that one was just very, because I've done it 2 times, very straightforward. Like, as I said before, 4 laps or 3 laps of 4 hours, so 30K, and then another 30K, another 30K, 90 hours, and then dust off the final 10,000. Okay, so that's attempt 1, attempt 2, and attempt 3. Now, here's another question that you might have. Why did I decide to put myself through this? Great question. So I was listening to David Goggins, his audiobook, Can't Hurt Me, and his story, very powerful, very deeply resonating, let's put it that way. And I was thinking to myself, okay, he is an ultra marathon running individual. I don't like running. I don't know how to ride a bike. So what is it that I can do walking? Okay, so that's what kind of led me down this rabbit hole of pushing the frontiers. And here's something that I didn't realize at the time, and this is important for anybody who is watching, because I also think that you should attempt to break that record of walking. Maybe it's not walking for you, maybe it's something else, but find a particular physical feat that you can maybe push yourself, push your boundaries, because I didn't realize at the time the actual implications of why I was doing this, okay? Because what happened was, with me doing the 100,000 steps, I'm actually breaking physical comfort zones. Like I've walked to places I've never walked before, right? So by breaking those physical comfort zones, there's 2 important things that happen. What that means is the next time you want to do something, 30K, 40K steps, you have now a different anchoring point, because I'm now comparing to 100,000 steps. So compared to 100,000 steps, 30K steps ain't too bad. And what happens is, because the comfort zone has expanded so exponentially, it just puts everything else into perspective, and it makes other things just a bit more easier, because you know you've been to that land of pain and struggle. Okay, so that's an important point, breaking those physical comfort zones, and then you can take that same mindset and adopt it in other areas. Okay, so this is why it's important for you to challenge yourself, break those physical comfort zones, see if you can achieve that mind over matter state, because you know the mind can do it. Can the body keep up? Okay, so push yourself, new frontiers. Let me know if you've done anything physically challenging, physically demanding. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Peace and love. I'll catch you on the next one.